outside the bow. Meron din outside the bow. I'm not so sure, hindi ko kilala yung iba.
Yeah, tama. May nakita akong Laguna na nag-register kanina. Parang may Laguna yata. So in another 5 minutes, we're going to start.
Correct.
Now we are 37 participants. So those who are,
Itong host mo daw.
they will just catch up those other.
Ana?
Sir, sa Mindanao dyan yung MSU, di ba?
Sa Jensen at saka Iligan, sir.
Oh, kasi nung nag-review ako sa Manila, may kaapelyido ako na MSU. Abarka din. Sabi ko, baka magkamag-anak tayo Bisaya sila.
James, meanwhile, can you just check either in chat or in a poll that how many of the participants know about the foam systems and how foam works, etc. Basics of foam. So accordingly, we can pace our presentation. Would it be possible for you to do that? Yeah.
I already made the summary a while ago.
Okay.
88% among our registrants have the design and experience. Don't have the design. 88%. So only 12% have the design experience for foam.
Okay.
And in the vow, based just in the survey that I sent in the registration, more or less 40% average is the market of foam in Davao. I don't know which locations are those. 40%.
We have someone joining from Saudi Arabia. Wow.
Okay. Oh yeah, the chat group, right? Okay, from Iligan PSME, yes. Jano Encarnacion. Then from Makati. Oh, they are from Makati here. And from Cebu, Leyte, Saudi Arabia. Okay. Sir Norman and Sir Bonifacio from Saudi Arabia. Iligan is which part is Sir Iligan?
Northern part of Mindanao.
Oh, northern part. Okay. Mindanao is a very big area. What about Zamboanga? Is part of Mindanao?
Yes.
Oh.
Nasa western part yan sila.
Pati Cagayan de Oro, sir? Hindi.
Cagayan, katabi ng Iligan, malapit sa Iligan.
So lahat yan pala Mindanao. Laki na Mindanao
And we are in the southern part of Mindanao.
The place where our president lives is where?
Okay.
Here, in our place.
In your place. Oh, in southern. Okay. That is where the Philippine Eagle is located, right? Mindanao.
Yes.
And there's a lot of, what do you call this fruit?
Durian.
Durian.
Yeah, durian. Are you eating durian, Abhishek?
I have no idea what this fruit is.
I'll
just check on Google. How does it look? How do you spell it?
D-U-R-I-A-N.
Okay, durian.
Actually, this time is the Kadayawan time. So most of the trees are bearing fruits.
Oh, okay.
So this is the time that we have a celebration of fruit festival in Davao.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So is this sweet or sour? I have
So
never
you should
seen this
come
fruit. I have never seen this fruit.
It smells
ever.
good. It smells very good. And tastes delicious.
Okay. Maybe that is something I'll do once I'm there in Philippines.
Are there a lot of what do you call this? The one Kiran loves to do,
Yeah, scuba diving.
scuba diving in Davao. Sir Jess,
The what?
scuba diving.
Oh, we have a lot. Actually, we have an island here, Samal.
Samar.
There are lots of diving sites here. So if you have time, actually, it's 3 hours by plane from
From your place.
Singapore direct to Davao.
Oh,
Before.
our MD's favorite sports hobby, scuba diving. Kiran. So you heard it, Kiran. There's a lot in Davao.
Yes. Surely we'll be there. I will go out to dive there very soon. Hope so.
Okay, our participants is already 39 and this is now 5:15. I think we are about to start our presentation. So Sir Jess, I will mute all, but who will be the one to talk so that I will unmute for the introduction? Sir Edwin? Is it Sir Edwin?
Oh, wait lang, sir. Tingnan ko. We will have our opening prayer to be given by Engineer Arnold Estipona. Then welcome remarks and introduction of the guest speaker by our president.
Okay.
Then after that, we have the technical presentation proper, and then the closing message after the presentation.
Okay. So what I will do
So
now,
you can unmute
I will mute, then they can unmute
Engineer
themselves.
Estipona and Engineer Ed Humamoy, sir.
Then you unmute yourself, Sir Edwin, Sir Arnold, and Sir Rogaciano, right?
Okay, so before we start, we will. Did you able to hear me? Just wave your hands. Just able to hear me well. Okay. Sino nakarinig? Okay, good. Okay, so we bow down our heads. Heavenly Father, who created heaven and earth, O God, we come before your throne of mercy and grace. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to increase our knowledge, Lord. This knowledge comes from you, O God. Thank you for additional wisdom, knowledge, understanding you've given to us, Lord, as mechanical engineers. So we could use this, Lord, to safeguard the lives, properties of our constituents, Lord. Thank you, God, for the opportunity. We speak blessings to the speakers, to the host, and to all of the members, to those who attendees of this seminar. We declare blessings, peace, and hope. Thank you, Lord, for your guidance. We ask this in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the PSME Davao, the officers, and all the members, thank you very much for your time attending this webinar on fire suppression using foam. Thank you very much also to the speaker for allotting their time this afternoon to give us the idea and how to apply this type of fire suppression system. So before we proceed, we would like to introduce to you our speaker who will be with us this afternoon. I will introduce first the Business Development Officer of Southeast Asia, Engineer James Abarca. Engineer James Abarca is a registered mechanical engineer, and he is also officer of PSME 69th chapter based in Singapore. Also a member of Institute of Fire Engineers, London, Singapore chapter. He has 20 plus years of work experience in mechanical engineering field. also involved in various projects in Dubai, Qatar, Indonesia, Vietnam, Singapore, and Philippines. Also involved in projects LNG plant, power plants, chemical plants, paint factories, MRT mix, development hospitals, airports, and commercial buildings. We have also tonight our speaker, the managing director of FireTech, in the person of Mr. Kiran Rani. Mr. Kiran Rani has also more than 15 years of experience in designing, manufacturing, and engineering of foam, water, and DCP system for complex and critical hazards. Core expertise in engineering, cost effectiveness, and performance-based solution. Spearheaded more than 500 designs engineering assignments. Passionate about offering customized solutions, and he loves deep sea diving. Another speaker is the Chief Executive of FireTech in the person of Abhishek Bagwe. He has also 12 years over experience across EPC, manufacturing, and strategy consulting domains. Expertise in strategy formulation, business development, and operational improvement. Published several white papers in leading publication on firefighting, strategy, and industry 4.0. He's passionate also about customer delight. So we will welcome our speaker for our webinar this afternoon. And we hope that this webinar this afternoon will be more beneficial and give knowledge to each one of us who are participating this event this afternoon. Thank you very much, and we welcome you all.
Okay, sir. So, okay,
James, should I
we
take
will
over?
proceed. Yeah, I'll take over now. We will proceed.
Yeah.
I'll be the one to introduce the topic itself, and together with my colleagues, so I'll show this. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, here's our slide. You can see my slides now, right? Okay. First of all, we would like to thank PSME Davao chapter for giving FireTech the opportunity to do this webinar. The topic for today is about fundamentals and design of foam suppression system. I am James, as been mentioned by Sir Edwin. Okay, and this technical webinar, the technical committee of the PSME Davao, in collaboration with FireTech Equipment, presents this fundamentals and design of foam suppression system. The aim of this webinar is to have a basic understanding of fire, its classification, and the principle on how foam suppress it. To have an overview of foam concentrates, its types, its classic application with respect to hazard, foam expansion rates, and foam application rates. To have an overview of design and selection in foam suppression system, and understanding of various applications of foam systems. So after the webinar, it is expected that we will have an idea for all these 4 items. So these are the 3 of us, and this already done with Sir Edwin. Okay, to tell more about FireTech, I would like to call on Abhishek to do the honor, please.
Thank you, James. James, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Engineer Arnold. That was a wonderful prayer. I mean, to be very frank, this is the first time I have came across in a webinar we praying to the God, but that's a wonderful practice that you guys have. It's really humbling to start a webinar like this. Also, thank you, Engineer Edwin, for your great introduction. We are also equally pleased to be part of this webinar, and we are very happy to whatever knowledge we can share, we'll be very happy to share with all the participants. Before we begin, one of the questions, as James introduced, this webinar is about the foam equipment. How do you select a foam equipment, and what is the fundamentals of foam separation system? Before we begin, I would like to quickly mention about why we are the right people, because foam system, I mean, if you look around, the foam systems are fairly widely used, especially in oil and gas, chemical industry. But I'm sure there are very few people, as in probably even less than 1% of the mechanical engineers actually understand how foam systems work, how to design foam. And hence, I think it is important for me to establish that why Firetech is the right company to talk about this particular topic. James, can you just put everyone on mute, please?
Yeah. I'm checking that one now. Everyone is mute already.
Yeah, okay. I will just proceed. Yeah, James, go ahead. So, yes, so I'll give you a brief introduction about Firetech. So, Firetech is a passionate team of engineers committed to solve customer challenges, and we have expertise, and we have been doing this for last 25 years. We are not only foam equipment manufacturers, we are engineers who want to solve problems or challenges related to fire safety. And we have been doing this for last 25 years. We have designed and installed more than 5,000 foam, water, and dry chemical based systems. So because of our inherent or ingrained expertise, we have been able to solve problems right from be it a space station to submarines to oil and gas industry to specific paint industry, whatever be the foam, whatever be the fire safety related issues, Firetech has designed and installed solutions for that. As an engineer, we all of us know that in firefighting, not only out the product, but the also process is important, because your products need to last for 25, maybe 15, 20 years or even 25 years in the field. For that, we have focused and we have set a very meticulous processes and procedures. We are a ISO 9000, 14000, and 45001 certified company. We have state-of-art designing, engineering, and manufacturing facility, including testing facility. Our team is equipped with all the latest softwares, be it PipeNet for hydraulic calculation, SolidWorks for 3D modeling, and all sorts of CAD/CAM software that are necessary for our trade. We have a team of expert welders and high precision CNC shop to ensure that whatever product comes out of Firetech factory is world class. We have a testing facility that complies with UL and FM requirements. A fun fact here is, in fact, all the UL testing for our equipment happens in India at our factory. So our factory, so people from UL, US also have come down, FMP also have come down, and all testing happens at the Firetech factory itself. The result of all this, I mean, our experience and expertise and dedication to knowledge is resulting in we are the Asia's largest UL listed foam fire separation equipment manufacturer. We export to North America, Europe, Africa, Middle East, and few countries in Southeast Asia as well. We were the first in Asia to obtain UL listing on a bladder tank with AFFF and ARAFFF foam. So this is the unique combination where we'll get into what are different types of foam and why it is very difficult to do that. But we were the first people to do that in Asia. In fact, looking at our record, UL has felicitated us for being the fastest to supply 500 bladder tanks across globe. So we were one of the guys to reach this milestone the quickest. So all said and done, the summary is we are the people who know firefighting system in and out for last 25 years. We have been people who work on a very specific problems that customer has come to us, and hence we have gathered a lot of knowledge about overall firefighting system, and hence we humbly come here to share our knowledge with us and also learn from each other and increase our knowledge. So that's the brief motto about brief objective of today's webinar. That's it, James, from my side. We can proceed with our webinar. Yes, over to you, James. James, can you hear me? Hi, James. Seems there is some technical difficulty. Just give us a couple of minutes to sort it out. James, can you unmute yourself?
Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah. This is, but now we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. A while ago I was in mute. Okay. Now, okay, let me go to the basic for us to understand the complicated part of foam suppression system. I believe it's better to understand the basic first. Okay, let me start by explaining the fire. As we all know, in the fire, there are several elements that would, contribute a fire. Okay, such as number one is fuel. This is the material that burns. Oxygen. This is the one that oxidizes the fuel energy. Heat. This is the one that initiates and sustains oxidation process. And the chain reaction after these three are combined. So if you're going to remove any one from this, let's say I'm going to remove fuel, heat, or oxygen, there will be no fire. In the point of view of foam suppression system, later on you will see that we are trying to minimize or eliminate the oxygen. Okay. Now, in order for a fire to start, there must be a material to burn, and this is referred to as the fuel. Fuel is any kind of combustible material, including paper, oil, wood, gases, fabric, liquid, plastic, rubber, and etc. From this illustration, let me explain to you a very simple basic of fire. Let's say this fuel is a paper. So in a paper, the molecules are bound closely to one another on the surface of the paper. Once heat is being introduced, the heat will loosen that molecule and they move further apart from one another and becoming a gas. That gas now, later on, that gas molecule, it will combine with oxygen molecules in the air and the paper begins to burn. So later you are going to see that in eliminating this oxygen, let's say this fuel is are chemicals or hydrocarbons, and then it will not create a fire. For types of fire, type A are the combustible fire, meaning it is fire caused by wood, paper, cloth, and etc. For class B fire, these are flammable liquids and gases. These are gasoline, propane, and solvents. For class C, these are live electrical equipment taken from computers and machinery. For class D, combustible metals caused by magnesium and lithium. And class K is the cooking media and cooking oils and fats. In class B, this is where the foam suppression is being classified to protect or suppress. Hydrocarbons and solvents. Hydrocarbons are the principal constituents of petroleum and gas. They serve as fuels and lubricants, as well as raw materials for the production of plastic, fibers, rubbers, solvents, explosive, and industrial chemical. Hydrocarbons are highly flammable. Okay. Examples of hydrocarbons are natural gas and fuels compounds like methane, butane, propane, hexane, and all hydrocarbons. For polar solvent, on the other hand, is a liquid molecules that have a slight electrical charge due to its shape. This is more flammable and combustible liquids, where some of the examples are acetic acid, methanol, ethanol, propanol, butanol. You can see this on the chemical plants most likely. Now, what is foam? Foam is a combination of these things. Number one, there is a foam concentrate. Later on, you will know more about details about foam concentrate, how many percent. There are several percentages types of this. The foam concentrate is being added to a water. Okay, when air agitated this water and foam concentrate solution, it will create a foam. So this is the foam solution. So that's the basic why there is a foam. Now, how does foam extinguish a fire? Let's say this is a diesel fuel. Okay, for a diesel fuel, when the foam is being introduced to the diesel fuel, you notice here there is a foam layer. There is aqueous film that forms a blanketing. Okay, there is an isolation effect between the oxygen here outside and the fuel and the inside. That's why if you remember the basic of fire a while ago, the oxygen has been eliminated. That's why fire will not be happening. And there is also cooling effect on this part and dilution effect on this water vapor. Thus, when this foam is being scattered all throughout here, eventually this fire will be suppressed. So, for the types of foam, we have organic foam and synthetic foam. Under synthetic, we have low and medium expansion and high expansion. What's the meaning of organic? Organic, these are the fluorochlorine foam with, I will explain what are these acronyms later on with you, with 3%, 6% combinations. For low and medium expansion foam, AFFF, 1%, 3%, 3 by 3, and 3 by 6. You will know this later on further from Kiran, what's the meaning of this. And high expansion, 2%, high expansion, 3%. The protein foam, which is the FV, it contains natural protein as the foaming agent. Protein foams are biodegradable. They are made of natural protein products such as soybean, chicken beaks, fish bones, and animal hooves, along some other stabilizing additives. They flow and spread slower and provide foam blanket that is more heat resistant and more durable. For FFP, we call it fluoroprotein foam. This is a combination of protein base derived from protein foam concentrates and fluorochemical surfactants, meaning it reduces the surface tension, thus allows more fluid movement. For AFFF, which is another improved foam after these two, aqueous film foaming foam, this is a synthetic foam consisting of fluorochemical and hydrocarbon surfactants combined with high boiling point solvents and water. It replaces the protein-based foam and is designed for rapid knockdown, but sacrifices heat resistance and long-term stability. The next improved foam is, we call it film-forming fluoroprotein foam. As you can see, the foam, it is being developed gradually. It's a protein-based foam with the more advanced fluorochemical surfactants to AFFF, combine the burn back resistance of fluoroprotein foam and knockdown power of AFFF foam. Last but not the least is the ARFFF. This is the alcohol-resistant aqueous film forming, the latest in the market. It's a combination of synthetic stabilizer forming agents, fluorochemicals, and synthetic polymer designed to use on polar solvents. Remember, a while ago, I mentioned about hydrocarbon and polar solvents that will protect by foam. AFFF is to protect this one of them. And the chemical makeup of this foam prevents the chemical solvents from destroying them. Today's most modern ARFFF foams can be used for both polar solvents and hydrocarbons protection. So, and on this chart, the flammable liquids are being categorized into each property according to knockdown, heat resistant, the foam. Knockdown, heat resistant, fuel tolerance, vapor suppression, and alcohol resistant. If you can see, for the protein, fluoroprotein, AFFF, they are only fair, good, excellent. But if you notice at AFFF, it seems to be like this is the most improved of all. That's why this is being used for both polar solvents and hydrocarbons applications. So why do we use AFFF? this is an illustration that shows how good this ARFFF is. For AFFF, it has a low surface tension, rapidly spreads across surface, high burn back resistance, and quick knockdown. However, this AFFF, when applied to polar solvents, the polar solvents will still, tend to destroy the film of this AFFF. That's why ARFFF was introduced so as to give a better quality, better protection for these polar solvents. Okay, so nowadays ARFFF is the most latest foam concentrate foam agent. So foam expansion types. When we say expansion types, there is what we call 20 times low expansion, 21 to 200 times medium expansion, and 200 times high expansion. What's the meaning of this? Expansion ratio is the ratio between the foam volume obtained and the volume of foaming solution used to produce it. Remember, a while ago, I showed you foam plus water equals foam concentrate solution. So foam expansion means you get the total volume of that foam concentrate. Okay, let's say this one, 100 liters of water plus foam concentrate gives 1,000 liters of foam. So the 1,000 liters, the foam concentrate, you divided it by the volume of water, then you get the foam expansion. So from this calculation, it shows 10, so it categorized under this low expansion. Now, for the overview of NFPA 11, you can see here, later on, Kiran will be the one to discuss this. And he will discuss more detail on the design specification and testing. So for the basic, I hope that you have got the meat of it, so that when we go to this topic, you will fully understand what's being discussed. Okay, so that's it for me for the basic of the foam system. So Kiran,
yes, James, thanks a lot, and very well presented on the basics, and I will take a year on forward the presentation. Thank you so much. Yeah, so very good evening to all of you. Now, NFPA 11 is basically one of the most important standards which is used globally for design of foam suppression systems. Now, generally, foam suppression systems are basically used for extinguishing combustible materials like even wood, paper fires. It is also used for, majorly it is used for extinguishing oil and gas fires. So this is where this standard comes into place for designing, for specifying, for installation, for testing and maintenance. So the standard covers a low expansion foam system, medium expansion foam system, and a high expansion foam system. So what do you mean by expansion? So expansion is basically how much amount of foam solution are you converting into foam? And generally, as mentioned earlier by James, low expansion is up to 20 times of expansion. Medium expansion is 20 to 200 times, and high expansion is about 200 to 1,000 times. The first edition of NFPA 11 was published in 1921, and it has been the most referred standard globally for design of foam suppression systems. So it addresses design issues, specification and plans, installation requirements, testing and acceptance, and also maintenance. Yeah, James, the next slide. So again, let's have a review of what are the hazards predicted by different types of foam systems based on the expansion values. So the first is the low expansion foam systems. They are used for oil storage tank protections. Not only oil, it can also be for polar solvents like methanol, ethanol, alcohol storage tanks. Dike or bund area protections, that is for the protecting the space in case of a spill fire around the tank dike, around the tanks. Warehouse protection, process platforms and areas, helipad protection, aircraft hangar protection, offshore platforms, oil LNG jetties, then the oil tanker or truck loading facilities, and hydrocarbon pump stations or sheds. Now coming to medium expansion foam systems, where the expansion value ranges from 21 times to 200 times. So these are majorly used for dike areas, for indoor process rooms and process areas. And the high expansions are the foam systems where the expansion is more than 200. It is majorly used for LNG and LPG tank dikes. For warehouse protection, we have seen that there is a great shift from low expansion to high expansion foam systems, because the major advantage of high expansion foam system is it is a 3D fire extinguishment. So it fills the complete room with foam. Then rubber storage facilities, solid waste recycling plants, and incineration plants. So these are the hazards which are protected by NFPA 11. Now, how do you go about foam application rates? So the whole approach for designing a foam system first starts from the application rate. How much foam are we going to apply in the enclosed hazard or the hazard under consideration? So when a designer is designing a low expansion foam system, then the amount of foam to be applied is called the foam solution application rate, which is either in LPM per square meter or in GPM per square feet. Then the second step is what is the fuel type, whether it is hydrocarbon or a polar solvent. And the third factor which defines the foam application rate is the flash point of the fuel. So NFPA 11 in fact defines based on the fuel, and based on the flash point there are different application rates to be chosen based on which the foam system is designed. When it comes to medium expansion foam system, the foam is calculated in terms of the generator, the output of the generator, that is in cubic meter per minute or cubic feet per minute. Then the second consideration is what is the class of the fuel and the test data related to the fire. Third is whether the enclosed building or enclosure is provided with sprinklers or is an unsprinklered building. Fourth, what is the foam breakdown rate by the sprinklers, which is estimated by a number of tests. Fifth is what is the leakage through the enclosure. So how good is the integrity of the enclosure in which the foam is to be put. In case there is some leakage due to some openings or voids, then the leakage factor is to be taken into consideration. And the most important is in how much time a specific height of foam should be built within the enclosure. High expansion foam systems is almost similar to medium expansion. The only difference is the expansion value is higher. So high expansion foam systems fill the enclosure at a very faster rate. And here also the first factor is what is the foam output from the generator, then the class of fuel and the test data. Again, the big building is provided with sprinklers or it is an unsprinkled enclosure. Then the foam breakdown rate by sprinklers, then the leakage through enclosures, and the foam filling height in a specific time. So if you see the medium and the high expansion foam systems are almost similar. What varies is only the expansion value. So the design approach remains same, but the foam filling height changes due to the change in the expansion ratio. Next, James. So the most important thing you have to understand is how are the foam equipment you are listed, what goes behind that. So the first is a foam concentrate manufacturer sort of formulates the foam. Either it can be AFFF or ARAFFF. These are a different type of foam. So the first UL 162 is a specification which determines whether the foam and the equipment used with the foam is capable of extinguishing the fire or not. So only those equipments which comply to the requirements of UL 162 are certified. So here it consists of basically three basic steps. So first is the foam concentrate is fire tested as per the test protocol mentioned in UL 162. Now after the foam concentrate is fire tested, the foam qualities of the foam are measured, that is during the fire test, that is the foam expansion and drainage. And the third step is the performance of the foam equipment must conform to the fire test value. So the foam equipment manufacturer has to ensure that whatever foam is produced by his equipment is having the same qualities as that were obtained during the fire test. So this is a three-method approach, followed in UL for the UL certification of the foam suppression systems. Now the most important factor here. Now here is the video of the foam concentrate fire test as per UL 162. So James, can you just play this video, please?
James, we are not able to see video playing. No, not yet. I think Karen, there is some issue with the technical issue. Maybe we want to proceed.
Okay, so should I move ahead with the next slide, please? Yeah, so what are the basic components of foam system? So any foam system consists of basically three main components. One is how is the foam going to be stored, that is the storage. The second equipment is how the foam concentrate is going to mix with the fire water, that is the proportioning. And the third ultimately is the discharge device, which actually converts the foam solution into foam. So let us look at one of each of the system component one by one. Storage. Now the purpose of the storage device is basically to store the foam concentrate with minimal deterioration. And examples of these are atmospheric foam storage tanks and bladder tanks. Now proportioning. Now this is one of the most important parameter or the most important component of the foam system. Now proportioning means mixing the accurate quantity of the foam concentrate into water. And this is you can say the heart of the system, because unless you don't have the correct amount of foam mixed in water, there is no possibility of producing the correct quality of foam which can extinguish the fire. So some of the examples of proportioning devices are self-inducting monitor nozzles, foam branch pipe with pickup tube, inline inductor, inline foam proportioners, and ratio controllers. And the last are the discharge devices, which ensure that the foam generation with required quality, as I said earlier, that is expansion and drainage. Examples are foam sprinklers, foam makers, foam chambers, foam monitors, medium expansion foam generators, and high expansion foam generators. So every foam system has these three components, that is storage, proportioning, and discharge devices. Yeah, James, next. So we have three. So basically, in foam proportioning systems, that is the method of mixing the water and foam, there are three options available. The option A is inline inductor with atmospheric tanks. The option B is inline foam proportioners with foam pump skids. And third is bladder tank with foam proportioners and ratio controllers. Now let us have a view of the inline inductor with the foam storage tanks. Now you can see here there is atmospheric foam storage tank and there is a inductor which is mounted on the tank, and the inductor is used to mix the water with the foam concentrate. So the features of this system, it is the most lowest cost of foam system, and it is suitable only for fixed pressure and fixed flow systems. So limitations, it cannot be used for variable pressure and variable flow scenarios. So say for example, from a same foam system, you are trying to protect say 3 different zones, then this system is not suitable for that. Small orifice discharge devices, like sprinklers, so this cannot be used with sprinklers because the inductor is very much sensitive to any blockages in the downstream piping or the discharge devices. And change in back pressure affects foam proportioning, and the foam degradation happens over a period of time in the foam storage tank, because the foam storage tank is atmosphere, so it's open to air, and there are chances of deterioration of the foam happening over a period of time. Next, James. Now these are inline foam proportional with foam pump skids. So here you can see there is atmospheric foam storage tank and there is a skid which consists of foam pump. So here the features is it does accurate foam proportioning. You can use it for protecting multiple zones. So you have 5, 6, even 10 zones, 15 zones can be protected by this type of a system. It can cater to variable flows and variable pressure scenarios. And refilling of the foam is possible during operation. Limitations: requires periodic maintenance because it's a pump, so there are rotary parts which require maintenance. Due to the rotary parts, there is subject to wear and tear. It either requires electric power or diesel engine for operation because of the pump being there, so either electric motor or diesel engine. And also the foam degradation can take place over a time as the foam is stored in storage tanks. Next. Now, bladder tanks with foam proportions and ratio controllers. So globally, this is one of the most reliable and accurate foam proportioning systems used for multiple hazards. So the features is it is the most accurate foam proportioning system. It can protect multiple hazards by giving multiple proportioners, variable flow and variable pressure scenarios. And in this, the most important thing is the foam is stored inside the bladder, which is an elastomer material. So you can see these tanks, and inside the tanks there is a bladder similar to a balloon, which stores the foam inside it. And this prevents the foam from getting in contact with atmospheric air, and thereby you have a better shelf life of the foam. It requires only water pressure for operation, so you don't require electric motor or a diesel engine. And it's very simple to operate. Just open the valves and the foam mixing will happen on its own. It has only one limitation, that is the foam concentrate cannot be refilled during operation. So such systems are generally designed for a complete duration of operation. Yes, next. So let me just take you to some of the different applications of bladder tanks. So here is the aircraft hangar protection. So you can see that there is a bladder tank which is connected to the ratio foam proportioner and the hydraulic foam control valve, and this bladder tank delivers the foam solution to the oscillating monitors and also to the overhead sprinklers which are mounted on the at the top of the aircraft hangar, and also hosiery stations are provided which are used for extinguishing any small spill fire within within the aircraft hangar area. So the top sprinklers provide the top protection, and the oscillating oscillating monitor covers the area below the wingspan of the aircraft. This is how a typical aircraft hangar protection system is provided. Next. Now, warehouse protection. So warehouse protection generally where you have warehouses where a lot of chemicals are stored. A lot of chemicals are stored, and also hazardous products are stored in form of pallets or in flat rack. So in-rack sprinklers and top head sprinklers can be provided. And also here you can see there is a bladder tank with the foam proportion and the hydraulic foam control valve also provided. So this is a typical closed-head sprinklers. So in case of a fire, the sprinklers open and the foam is discharged from the top sprinklers, as well as it is discharged in the in-rack sprinklers. Next. This is a typical process platform. Generally, it is you can say either offshore process platform or such process platforms are also used in chemical industries. So where you have different levels, like level 1 process, then level 2 and level 3. So this is basically staggered as per the the process flow. And even such systems can be provided with foam suppression systems, wherein you have different discharge devices at different levels. So at level 1 you have sprinklers, at level 2 you have hosiery line sprinklers, and at level 3 you have monitors as well as sprinklers. So using a single bladder tank, and a ratio controller, you can protect the complete process platform. And this is one of the most cost-effective and also a reliable foam suppression solution. Next. Now the tanker and truck loading facility. So now here, these systems, these foam systems are provided for tanker loading bays, where the trucks are used to transfer or load or unload the hydrocarbon or polar solvents. So here it consists of some detection system like the detectors. So these detectors detect the fire and send a signal to the alarm panel. And the alarm panel actuates the deluge valve, and due to the actuation of deluge valve, the foam solution is spread from the top and as well as the side nozzles in a truck loading facility. This is how the foam system is provided for a truck loading facility. Next. Now this is how you can, this is how a foam system is generally provided for dike areas. Now generally in dike areas, most of the fires are due to spill. So in case there is a spill fire, then you can provide a medium expansion foam system consisting of medium expansion foam generators and the bladder tank. So in case of a fire, the medium expansion generators will operate and flood the complete area with the foam with the expansion of 25 to 30 times and ensure that the fire is extinguished. Now I would like to request Mr. Abhishek Bagwe to take this presentation ahead. Thanks a lot for all of you for your time, and if you have any questions, please keep us posted. We will reply at the end of the webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Kiran. Thanks. That's a wonderful explanation about the different types of system. So, guys, till now we covered what is firefighting foam, how does firefighting foam work, and what are the different typical arrangement as per NFPA 11, which is the kind of mother standard for foam firefighting system, and what are the typical arrangements so to protect different fire hazards. Now, at FireTech, I have spoken about we are in industry for last 25 years, and this is what we have been doing in and out. So we have been fortunate enough to use some of this theory in actual practice, and I would like to share some of our experiences from the past. So this one you are seeing on the screen right now is the Asia's largest foam suppression system. Thanks, James. That's great. Now this is full screen now. Yeah, so one of the Asia's largest foam suppression system made for LNG terminal, and here the client had come to us where they wanted to set up a LNG terminal which is nearer to the sea coast, and it is one of the largest LNG terminal in India and probably one of the largest in Asia. And problem was pretty clear because of the size, the sheer size of the equipment that you could take. So in this case, if you can see, there is a tall tank, which is the Kiran had mentioned about the foam tank, foam pump, and a storage tank arrangement. This is what we have used here. The long tank that you see is an atmospheric foam tank, and on the right you see a couple of photos, which are the foam pumps. So in this case, UL listed foam pumps was used, and a storage tank of 40,000 liter was made. So the entire manufacturing was done in FireTech factory. The testing of this equipment was also done in FireTech factory. Some of the global biggies like Black & Veatch, which is the American giant in EPC, and Foster Wheeler, which is a UK-based giant was the engineering consultant. We had done all the documentation, necessary testing to ensure that this system completely passes their parameters. And this particular system is now operational for, I think, last 1.5 years already. Yeah, James. Okay, next one is also one of the interesting projects that we had done in the recent time. This is the high altitude aircraft hangar protection that we had done. Again, I mean, this was one of the areas that we had spoken. One of the topic that Kiran covered in his NFP arrangement, the aircraft hangar protection. Aircraft hangars are very peculiar because we use 3D fire or the high expansion foam systems in such aircraft hangars. This particular project, this aircraft hangar was situated in Himalayan region where the temperature varies from -25 and 40 degrees. And as all of us know that below 0 degree, you have to, if the temperature goes below 0 degree, you have to ensure that water does not freeze in pipeline, and all appropriate precaution need to be taken. The entire engineering of the system was done by Firetech, and the equipment supply was done by Firetech, and the even testing was done by Firetech. Uh, Probably at this point of time, we are the only manufacturer in Asia to do a project like this, a aircraft hangar project, with a complete engineering and supply in-house. After this project, we have done approximately 6 hangars, few in India, there are few in Africa also we have done, and there is another few which are still we are working with the client to do that. Yes, James. James, can you check if you can play video now? Yeah, perfect. That's great. So this is another project that we had done, which is a jetty protection. So this is where ship with the oil crude comes to the port and unloading happens. And because there is a transfer of oil from ship to the coast, there is a lot of hazard. In this case, the entire engineering was done by us. So if you see there, these are the tower monitors which are remote operated. So the control center is somewhere like probably 500 meters away, and they are directing monitor throw at a particular point. And then at the bottom there are curtain nozzles to ensure that no heat passes onto the people or anything that is on the jetty. So this entire system, again, designing and supply was done by Firetech. Yes, James. Talking about, so another area which Kiran spoke about as a part of NFP 11 typical arrangement was oil terminal or a oil tank protection. And we have, as a Firetech, we are proud to say that we have done literally thousands of such projects. We have designed more than 500 fire protection systems for oil tanks, dike, and terminal protection. We have expertise in using low, medium, and high expansion. Generally for oil spills, we use low expansion or medium expansion. For LNG, medium or high expansion is used. We have supplied equipment to more than 1,000 oil terminals and depot projects across India and globally, including continents like Africa, Middle East. This is something that is very core to us, and we have huge experience in this area. And the last one, though we did not talk about this very specific system in this presentation, this system is called as a compressed air foam system. This system is used where so we spoke about how foam is made, right? Foam concentrate liquid plus water plus air. So wherever their air is not available in the atmosphere, or ambient air may not be used, so at that time the compressed air is supplied to the foam system. So this is one of such systems which is used for very critical specific application. And in this particular case, we had designed a system for nuclear submarine. So INS Arihant was India's first indigenously developed nuclear submarine, which was launched about 3 years back. And the entire R&D to prototyping to actually getting the units made, then ensuring there is a massive testing that happens, it took close to about 5 years. But we are proud to say that there are already 8 such stations are already been supplied to the to Indian Navy, and they are being commissioned. Another 4 are being manufactured and will be supplied over a period of time. Looking at the complexity and the engineering that involved in this particular product, a European submarine manufacturer has approached us to take this technology and this product for their submarine manufacturing, and we are currently in a phase where we are exploring tie-up with them to take this forward. Yes, James. So we saw a few case studies where we have used theoretical knowledge of NFP 11 to make practical applications possible. And in order to do that, apart from knowledge, you require products. And as a courtesy of our ability to go out to customer and offer different solutions, we have developed a wide range of product portfolio.
So be it water, be it foam, be it dry chemical, Firetech has a wide variety of product portfolio. Some of the products which are UL listed, I have just put a snapshot here for your quick understanding. And but I do encourage you guys to visit our website firetechindia.com to understand more about the products. If you want to understanding working, or you need any help on understanding the application, we are always just a mail away from you. So all in all, we at Firetech are take pride in solving or designing engineering solutions to customer problem, and through our expertise and experience, we serve variety of industries, be it oil and gas, chemical, fertilizer, power, marine, defense, aviation, warehouses. You name a industry, and we would have done some fire hazard protection there. So that is the experience and expertise that we are banking on, and which is propelling us to go ahead. And we continue to take this legacy forward. So we at a Firetech firmly believe that no problem is small or big. If you are at it for really with a good knowledge, you can always solve it. And we at Firetech again are committed to address all the fire hazard across industry, because at the end every life matters, right? So I think, yeah, that's about it from us at Firetech. We are the people you can rely on for your fire safety requirements. I now throw the dice open for any questions that you might have, and we will be happy to answer them. James, you might want to just take stage here and check if there are any questions.
Wait, I will return to that supposed to be video.
Yeah, that will be great. Correct.
I would like to show the how the UL certification is being done. Sorry, I think my screen a while ago was not expanded. That's why it never shows. So I will. Okay, now I'm here. So you can see here how UL certify the foam. So they have certain procedures. You can see the screen now, video. I will play now.
Not yet, James. You have to share again.
Wait, I have to hide the preview view. Okay, now it's okay, right?
Not yet. You have not shared your screen.
Oh, wait. Okay, you can see now?
I can see the screen, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to the video itself. Okay, that's the video itself. Okay, now my screen showing the video, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll play.
Okay. Yeah, now it is working. Great.
So you can.
Kiran, can you just explain?
Yeah, so this is a UL fire test of using heptane fuel, and the pre-burn is allowed for about 2 minutes. So you can see this is the pre-burn which is taking place. There is a specific specification by UL as to what should be the size of the pan and how much fuel load should be there. And this is the fire test nozzle, which is right now just putting on the foam into the fire, and slowly you will see that as the foam is put into the fire, there will be control over the fire. And there is a specific, even a time limit given within how much time the fire should be controlled. So you can see the intensity of fire is reduced, and now it's almost 90% of the control time, and there is hardly a fire left which is extinguished by the foam. So this is how the foam is qualified in a fire test. And this is a sealing test to ensure that the foam has properly sealed the edges of the fire test pan. So a torch is sort of moved along the edge of the pan to see that if any of the edges are open. So in case there is a fire at the edge, then the foam fails the test. And this is also checking for surface, whether the whole surface is blanketed by the foam or not. So there is a hydrocarbon fuel below the foam. And this is to check whether the foam integrity of the blanket. And this is a stovepipe testing where the sort of foam is so a can is kept and the foam is removed from the surface, and that area is again lit with fire to ensure that the foam blanket does not is not destroyed by the fire in case there is some area open. So this is to ensure the integrity of the foam blanket. So here the gentleman is removing the foam, and then he will again lit the fire in the area from where he has removed the foam. So this ensures that the fire is not spread again in case there is a recurrence of fire. The foam blanket should be stable enough to prevent the small fire from getting into a big fire. So the fire has to be contained only in that area.
Okay. So I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So, okay. Just to summarize our presentation before we going to the question and answer, you were able to understand the basic of foam system, wherein the principle is it will isolate or blanket off the fuel from the oxygen so that the fire will not be triggered. And then there were also PNIDs that being discussed by Kiran for the applications of the foam system. And lastly is the Abhishek, where there are previous projects where design, engineering, and installation of this FireTech foam was being applied. Okay, so that's all for the presentation for today. I hope we got some idea of this foam suppression system, and we will proceed with the question and answer. I'm going to read some of the questions. Abhishek and Kiran, yeah. So, but anyway, before I'm going to read, maybe someone to throw a question. You can unmute your microphone. Anybody? Anyone from the
So
participants?
James, there is already one question that has come. Last chat.
Oh, okay. There were a lot of chat saying you enlarged the the screen. Oh, sorry, I wasn't able to see that because my laptop showing the screen. Okay, in a pulp manufacturing plant, is foam fire suppression system recommended? Pulp manufacturing plant.
Yeah. So in a pulp manufacturing facility, if they are flammable liquids, if that is used, then only it is required. Otherwise,
Wait. Sorry, I haven't. I will mute them again. Kiran, yeah. Okay. Sorry, Kiran. You can proceed again.
So I'm saying that means in case of a pulp manufacturing facility, generally foam system is not required. But if they are storing some flammable liquids and all in a separate area, then the foam system might be required. So for a pulp, sprinkler system just should do.
Okay. Next question, sir. Who is the authorized dealer in the Philippines? Where's that noise? Okay. Will I answer that, Kiran?
Yes,
James, please go ahead.
Actually, we are still in the midst of searching distributor in the WOW area. So the reason why we have this PSME, the WOW webinar, is to take this opportunity to collaborate. Whoever is interested to take care of the Davao region. In Luzon, there is already one in Manila, but in Cebu and Davao, we still don't have. I'm still searching. So if you are interested, you can email me, you can message me, and we can start from there. We can collaborate from there. So some more question? This is Jesse Tanso. He said he can operate nationwide. So
I think, James, that conversation we can take it separately on a mail or anything.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Sir Bonifacio question, I can just send you an email for that. Any other question from the participants who would like to ask something? Any clarification regarding the foam discussion today?
Hello, James.
Sige, sir.
Ang tanong ko pwede ba siya i-apply sa commercial building like condominium or malls? Pwede ba siya?
Okay. Pag sinabing mall commercial building, sir, halimbawa, meron silang diesel generator, diesel storage tank na kailangan protektahan basta hydrocarbon, ito sir ay applicable sa mga ganung applications.
So, intended lang talaga siya sa mga hydrocarbons, no?
Yes, sir. But kung meron naman sila mga chemical storage areas, yun din pwede ring applicable doon.
Bali, may specific lang siya na for example sa yung mga storage lang ng diesel or whatever flammable chemicals, doon lang siya pwede doon sa all itself, hindi siya pwede ma-replace sa fire sprinkler system na gumagamit ng water, hindi siya pwede ma-replace, no?
Pag sinabing kaya naman ng compliance sa code na water protected, I think it's more economical kapag water.
Water.
Ibang usapan na naman kapag electrical rooms, ano na yon that will be on the gas suppression system. Basically, foam suppression system, the one that we mentioned, we have in the applications in the chemical warehouses, hangars, platforms, dikes, those with hydrocarbons and polar solvents storage areas.
Okay,
sir.
Thank you.
Any more questions, sir? Meron pa?
Sir James, good evening.
May I ask something?
Yes, sir. Okay.
What about the, is it not hazardous to environment?
Abhishek, you want to take that?
Sorry, what?
He's asking if the foam concentrate is hazardous to environment.
Correct. So yeah, way to answer this is yes, foam concentrate is hazardous to environment, but again, like all chemicals, it is a chemical and it depends. I mean, it is not toxic, but it is hazardous, and the difference between that is foam concentrate after usage is not discharged in a drinking water or in a water pool, because over a period of time it will leave toxicity and which will have a harmful effect on the fish or any other aquatic animals. But again, having said that, there are different types of foam. The newer generation fluorine-free foam or eco-friendly foam are supposedly far less toxic and are biodegradable. So even that range is available and can be used. But again, like all such things, they come with a higher cost. And if local regulations or government requires it, that can also be arranged. So if you go to Nordic countries like Sweden, Denmark, where there is a heavy restriction on usage of foam, eco-friendly foam is something that is used, and those countries have already moved to the usage of that kind of eco-friendly foam. So that foam is available, but again, I mean that foam comes at a cost.
So, clear sir, sino yung tanong Sir Jano?
And just to add to this topic, when foam being applied, so for example, if there is some warehouse and it is being protected by foam, there is a foam discharge that happens. After that, it is not hazardous or toxic in terms of if you are wearing a proper safety, some sort of PPE kit, which is personal protection kit, including the goggles, and you don't swallow or eat foam, then that is not problematic as such. So even after the fire is extinguished, every foam has some drainage time, and after that time, it can be in few minutes, the foam disintegrates, becomes water, because foam is, if you again go back to the theory that we were talking about, it's basically 3% chemical. If it is a 3% foam, 97% water, and then rest is air. So air will escape, the bubbles will collapse, and the water will drain out. So only 3% of the chemical, which is generally during that operation, is not very harmful. But yes, it does have a long-term effect on aquatic life, and hence disposal is always need to be handled very carefully.
Okay, there's a question here. Is there any disadvantages that you could share and make us aware in terms of chemical exposure out of foam spray system?
This again goes back to the answer that I had given. During foam application as such, foam spray system, there is no disadvantage as such. So we'll have to look at it this way. There is certain warehouse or certain area fire hazard, there is a big fire that is happening. So first reaction is to control the fire and minimize the damage to property and lives. That is why the foam is being applied. Now, obviously, with this solution, there are some disadvantages, but a lot of times those disadvantages are not as big as or as risky as the fire itself. And hence, just to answer the question, foam sprinkler during application, there are no immediate dangers as such. But again, the foam disposal or needs to be handled very carefully.
Okay, so that question from Charisna. Now, question from Mr. Gerardo. You said that these foam concentrates were fluorochemical, which were cancer-causing agents and detrimental to health, especially to children. What is the chance of not getting sick when exposed to the product?
What is the chance of not getting, sorry?
Not getting sick, yeah.
Okay, so so as I mentioned, after application, there is a drainage time. So foam will collapse and become water. And if you use right protection equipment, and it's like a simple rubber or plastic protection equipment, there is no immediate danger. There is no immediate danger of getting sick. But yes, over a period of time, when it is disposed in a particular, say, lake or particular water body, then it could become a problem for aquatic life. But there are no immediate dangers. And again, there is an option of eco-friendly foam which is already available.
Okay, how about is foam suppression system recommended in steam boiler plant using HFO fuel oil?
Yeah, Kiran, do you want to take this? Kiran, you're on mute.
Yeah. So I'm on mute. Yeah. So regarding, does it permit to store this Yeah. So in refining plant, yes, you can provide AFFF foams, and also doesn't need permits. Regarding the permits, it is specific to the authority having jurisdiction. So the local authorities, what is the fire law? It all depends on that.
Yeah. Kiran already answered, including the permit. So the question about the recommendation for steam boiler plant using HFO fuel.
Yeah. So generally for the steam boiler plant, generally the oil tanks, that is the furnace oil, or the generally the furnace oil is used to run the to convert water into steam. They provide the sort of the fuel to the boiler, and generally these tanks are provided with foam system, the furnace oil tanks.
Okay. Okay, next question. Technically, I understand that when the foam sprinkler detects that the fire, it is then triggered. This causes the water to flow into the bladder tank. The foam concentrate goes into the bladder tank via the proportioner. My question is, how does the proportioner maintain and check the desired percentage of foam?
Okay, so like basically the foam proportioner is a modified Venturi in which is tested by UL for all the flow ranges using a conductivity test method, which is mentioned in NFP 11. And such tests can also be done at factory to ensure at factory as well as at the installation site to check the foam proportioning. So there is a method called as conductivity method or a refractive index method. These are the tools by which you can sort of verify the proportioning accuracy at site.
Okay.
Just to add to this, again, as a foam proportioning, with the bladder tank proportion is a mechanical device, and generally over a period of time, it doesn't lose its calibration. So, because by nature there are certain arrangement of orifice which is made, and it doesn't change over a period of time. So once it is set, a calibration is set at a factory, it is not changeable. So over a period, so foam concentrate percentage will remain same throughout the life of the equipment.
Yeah, second, there is no rotary part. It is all
Correct.
static mechanical assembly. So there is no chances of wear and tear in the system.
The next question there, is it applicable or recommended in rotogravure printing process using solvent-based inks? Currently, we have CO2 fire extinguisher in every machine and overhead water sprinkler. So he's asking if foam is applicable for solvent-based inks. Or I think this printing press.
Yes, yes. Obviously, we can also provide a foam system wherever the solvent inks are stored. So in case of CO2 also can be one of the solutions, and also foam sprinkler system can be a solution.
So both is a solution. Yeah. Okay. So any more question? Maybe you can just unmute your microphone if you want to have further question.
Hello, James.
Yes, sir.
How long do foam material last or expire?
The expiration of foam.
Yeah, so the expiration of the foam is called as the shelf life. The shelf life of the foam is between 15 to 20 years, depending on the foam concentrate manufacturer and the chemistry, and also the type of foam. So minimum 10 years is the minimum. It can also go up to 50 to 20 years.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, later I'm going to send all these survey question. After you respond, I'm going to send you the slides presentation and a video of this webinar for your review and further understanding.
Sir James, good evening.
Yes.
Sir, hindi ba corrosive ang foam to the machines?
They're asking if the foam is corrosive to the machines. Want to take it, Abhishek?
Sorry?
Is foam corrosive to the machine?
Machine which is a printing machine?
Yes.
No. You can't apply the foam on the printing machine. No, not at all.
No,
See,
if ever the foam will be exposed, then it will be discharged, then and hit the machine. Is it
Correct. So,
corrosive to this machine?
yeah. So that is what I said, that the foam cannot be applied directly on the machine. It can be applied only the area where the solvent inks are stored.
so to answer this, foam has 97% water, right? If you are any machine which does not want to be in contact with water, foam should not be applied. As such, foam is corrosive, but in a small for area of exposure is also important. So the storage tank in which foam is stored, it needs to be stainless steel. But if you are asking whether if a foam accidentally spills onto a particular machine for a very short period of time, then no, there is no problem as such. But as Kiran rightly mentioned, if a machine is not to be exposed to water, then it should not be exposed to foam. So like your electrical panels, you don't want it to be exposed to water. So similarly, it should not be exposed to low expansion foam.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Saan ano yan, sir? Application na system, anong planta?
Plastic manufacturing plant, sir. May printing area kasi using photography or ink. Solvent base.
For plastic manufacturing. But
Yes.
those plastic manufacturing, they have their storage for chemicals, right?
Yes.
That's the one we will protect.
Not on the production line.
No, not on your machines. Okay,
So
next
the
question.
CO2 is enough already.
Yeah, CO2 is clean. Is like a gas.
Yes.
Same as the principle of clean agent system. High pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next question: is there any minimum density of foam for the exposed area?
So regarding minimum density is 4.1 lpm, which is for hydrocarbon, and based on polar solvents, the density is decided based on the fire test. So 4.1 lpm per square meter or 0.1 GPM per square feet is the minimum density of
4.1.
yes.
Okay. How about the pressure range that shall be considered at the hydraulically remote sprayer?
So it depends on the K factor of the sprinkler and also upon the application rate. So generally, say for a K40 sprinkler, that is it would be around 2.5 to 3 bar, and for a K80 sprinkler, it would be 1 bar. So first the application density comes, and after application density, you choose the K factor, and based on the K factor, the pressure is decided.
Yeah, this is normally identified during the hydraulic calculation also. This one. Okay, any more questions, sirs?
Yeah, so I think there are no more questions to go for, James. Might be we can ask the respected dignitary to make the closing remarks so that we can. Yeah. Also, we will take up the webinar series. James, you can address that too, and call on for the dignitaries to give the closing remarks.
Yes. These are the emails. You can email us your concerns, your questions, and we will reply to you right away for your queries. With regards to any commercial thing, you can email me also for our further discussion. Yung nagtanong kanina, sir, ng distributor. So, pwede kayo mag-email sa akin. So, if there's no any further question, Sir Jess, we will return the floor to you, to PSME.
Okay, so at this point in time, may we request Engineer Mervin Rapisora, one of the board of directors of PSME about chapter, to give us the closing remarks. Merv?
Okay. Thank you, Jess. So we'd like to thank our presenter for this webinar. the fire tech, with their topic fundamentals and design of foam suppression system. So very informative webinar indeed. Would like to thank Mr. Abhishek Bagwe and Mr. Kiran Rain and Engineer James Abarca for the very informative and nice presentation of the topic. And together with the 46 attendees, I think, we hope that there were still more webinars to come, series of seminars. I think the fire tech system are always invited. Always welcome to present for the PSME Davao.
Thank you.
Okay, James. So I think.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. It has been indeed pleasure to be with the PSME Davao chapter, and we look forward to give more webinars in the coming future. Thanks, Mr. James, for organizing this. You have taken a great amount of effort in getting everybody together. And James, I would request you to please convey our thanks to the PSME Davao chapter.
Yes, yes. As a member also of the PSME in Singapore chapter, would like to thank PSME Davao, especially Sir Jess, for organizing this. What I'm trying to propose is we are trying to think actually of organizing future technical training in a per topic basis. So we are in the midst of making this program together with other chapters also. So later on we will inform the Davao chapter if they are interested to join as well. There are more topics to be taken actually for this foam suppression. Today's training is just the icing of the cake. Is, I would say, the introduction, but there are more details if we're going to go for in-depth technical information. So basically we'll go through only NFPA 11, NFPA basically for NFPA 11. Okay, so thank you so much again, Sir Jess. Maraming salamat, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Makikipag-coordinate ako sa iyo, sir, doon sa mga per topic. Halimbawa, ang topic lang ay sa tank farm, ganyan. Topic lang ay specified topic na mas detalyado siya, step by step na program. Free pa rin yun, walang bayad yun. Okay? So,
hello, James. What are the other topics in line available from FireTech?
We are because we have already conducted in Singapore in different chapters. Now, Abhishek, Kiran, and I are in the midst of organizing those outline of courses, and it will take like array of months for us to go through them. We will update you what are those, and then we'll arrange whatever schedules we can meet together again.
Okay, thank you, James.
Basically,
actually, from Davao chapter, we have we still planning to have around 15 technical presentations until December, so we will keep you posted.
Sure.
And we'll be happy to welcome again the FireTech group. So thank you very much for joining, and other members and all the other participants who are not members of PSME Davao. So you are always welcome to join our webinars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So James, there are a couple of questions. I think you can take them on mail and just respond to them. I think that will be good.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
We'll put
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. It's been great pleasure.
So yeah, I will email all those our contacts and details and survey questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.